Maybe the sun will shine today.
I met Bobby on Buttermilk Mountain in Aspen, Colorado when I was 24 years old. The jazz festival was that weekend, and I decided that a break from the Texas heat was just what I needed. Willie Nelson had just taken the stage, and I realized that I was being watched. I turned to find the tall, blue-eyed boy that I had noticed earlier in the day. I returned the gaze, giving him the opening he needed. "You know, you're really difficult to approach," he said. "And why is that?" I replied. "Because you're so beautiful." I told him he needed a new shtick, but I felt an immediate connection. We spent the rest of the evening together, eventually trading phone numbers. The next day, I returned home to Texas, uncertain that I would ever hear from him. I settled back in to living with my parents and working for my father. I organized and reorganized his office, tinkered with the World Wide Web via dial-up, and more often than not, stared out the window with visions of my peers sprinting up the corporate ladder. Several weeks went by. One evening, my father approached with a puzzled look and Post-it note in hand. "Some guy named Bogey left you a message?" he said. "Do you mean Bobby?" I asked, grabbing the note and racing upstairs to see if the numbers matched those on the cocktail napkin carefully stashed in my bedside table. It was him, and I was ecstatic. I called back, and we spoke for the next hour. He asked if he could see me again, and I agreed. Thus began our journey of a 7-year long-distance relationship. We'd spend sublime weekends together with professions of love, but when I asked when we might meet up again, he would say, "Please don't ruin this." I would retreat, concerned that he would end things completely if I pushed. He drifted in and out of my life, disappearing for months with no explanation as to where life had taken him. When he'd pop back in, I would act indifferent, pretending that I was totally okay with not speaking to him for so long, that I was busy being happy in my own space. I spent our months apart working and socializing with friends. I had found a steady job that paid the bills and allowed a bit of fun as well. It was a pattern of group dinners and drinks, with me always feigning self-assurance and independence. Inside, I felt deeply unsatisfied. I would panic if anyone suggested they wanted to set me up on a date. What if Bobby wants to see me? I'd ask myself. And then the sadness crept in. How could I continue to allow someone back into my life who says they love me, but repeatedly abandons me with no explanation? Looking back, it is clear that I had chosen a relationship that was a reflection of how I viewed myself, not worthy of love, respect, or loyalty. The summer I was 31, I started thinking about Bobby and our relationship a lot. I was feeling older and years behind where I should be. I had witnessed marriages, countless births, and even a few remarriages and divorces. Why is this so easy for everybody else, I thought, and when is it my turn? It had been quite some time since we had seen one another, so I pushed for a visit. We decided he should come to Texas and that we'd spend the weekend at my family's lake house. It was that weekend that the most precious of spirits came to me. This was something I had secretly wished for. Bobby and I had previously discussed what would happen if I was ever to become pregnant. "We'll get married and have a family," he said. I believed him and thought that with a baby, everything would fall into place. Upon confirming that I was pregnant, the reality of what I had done set in. I initially shared the news only with my little sister and my best friend. They both stared at me, wide-eyed and speechless. It was clear I hadn't told Bobby yet. My best friend asked, "Are you prepared to hear that he does not want this baby?" I pretended to be that strong, independent girl, stating I would be just fine raising a kid on my own. But inside, I was terrified. I finally picked up the phone, took a deep breath, and dialed. I paced as he answered. We spoke for several minutes about inane matters, my heart pounding and stomach churning through every second. The conversation lulled, and he gave cues that he was ready to sign off. Wait, there's something I have to tell you, I said. I'm pregnant. What? He exclaimed. Are you sure? Did you take a test? Yes, I took 3. And you're sure that it's mine? Yes, I haven't slept with anyone else. His words began to spew. This is not at all what I want. I have plans for my life. I just turned 30 and don't want to get married or have kids for a really long time, and you are not who I want to do that with. If you have this baby, I will move to Dallas and be miserable. You will ruin my life. I want the whole package, and you are not it. I crumbled to the floor and cried through the night. The truth had finally busted its way out, and it was staring me down. This was a far cry from the fantasy I created in my head and heart. I was overwhelmed with grief. I moved through the following days almost catatonic and would often retreat to any place I could find to cry. I was distraught and faced with a giant choice. Would I bring this little spirit into the world, knowing that its father would likely dip in and out of its life, the sentence of a lifetime of disappointment and heartache? Or would I have an abortion and set the spirit free? If I choose to let the spirit go, will God still love me? Will I still be allowed to ask for blessings? Will I be able to forgive myself? Or if I choose to keep the baby, will I be a good mother? What if this is my only chance to have a baby? What if I'm never loved? Through all of this, I kept my family and small army of best pals close. They gave me the message that I had never given myself. I am loved completely and without judgment. I finally heard them. I decided to set that little spirit free and have an abortion. It was an extremely difficult decision that was never taken lightly. I believe that that little spirit chose to come to me, that he and God shook hands and agreed that I needed some help. This set me on the most beautiful path of getting to know me. It was an opportunity to start again, to try and live the life that my soul desperately wanted. I dug in deep with the help of a brilliant therapist, determined to battle the demons I had fed for so many years. I slowly started to believe that I was worthy rather than just accepting that I was. It was slow, tough work, but I eventually became my own whole package. I am now married to the love of my life, to a man that sees me clearly and loves me for all that I am. John is the new reflection of how I view myself: worthy, loved, and happy. I have no doubt that the journey enabled me to allow this deep, healthy love. We are hopeful that we will be blessed with a baby soon. A funny thing has been happening lately. I've been seeing license plates and signs with the letters BRB. Be right back. I hope that is a message that the Spirit will come back to me. I turned 39 a few weeks ago. It has been 7 years since my abortion. I am so grateful that I was able to make that choice.